Let's go to the DSR, the Defence Strategic Review. You know, lauded as this landmark plan to modernise the Defence Force. A lot of critics, though, they're saying it's vague, underfunded, becoming mired in bureaucracy. What's going on, Greg?
Well, it is very disappointing, Peter. So everything the government is doing on nuclear submarines is terrific. That's great. But nothing happens on nuclear submarines for several years at the earliest. The Virginia class and the British Astute class start visiting in a few years' time, and we might get our first one from the Americans in about 10 years' time. Now, I mean, I've been a professional journalist for 45 years, and the only defence minister who's ever actually really done anything of any consequence really was Kim Beazley. Otherwise, we've just had this glacial pace, and I've sat in Defence Minister's office one after another while they always say, we're going to do the most fantastic things in 5, 7 or 10 years' time. In other words, beyond the forward estimates. But in this particular period where we're responsible, we're not going to do anything. Now, everything in the DSR of consequence, apart from the nuclear submarines, has just been kicked into the long grass. The Army has lost its 300 or 400 of its heavy armoured vehicles. I think that's a sensible decision. And in exchange, it's going to get some longer range artillery and missiles. Well, that's useful, but that's extremely marginal. That's very, very minor tactical stuff. Meanwhile, we've got the weakest surface fleet we've ever had. We've only got 3 modern war vessels, the air warfare destroyers. And my colleague Cameron Stewart revealed that the original uncensored report of the DSR said, kill these Hunter frigates because they're only going to have 32 missile cells each on them, which means they can't operate in modern warfare, and immediately get some properly armed frigates with lots and lots of missile cells. Everybody knows we've got to kill the offshore patrol vessels and get some properly armed corvettes. But nothing's happening. Absolutely nothing's happening. We've got two new inquiries. We're going to have much more than half of the Albanese government's entire first term, and nothing happens in relation to the next 10 years. The Morrison government first announced this guided weapons enterprise to build missiles in Australia 3 years ago. Nothing has happened. Not a single sod of earth has been turned. And the DSR resulted in a new inquiry into the guided weapons enterprise so that when that inquiry reports, the government will then embark on deciding which new missiles it wants to make. Why is this taking 4 years? The government has announced that it's going to buy Tomahawk missiles for the air warfare destroyers. Everybody knows it's going to buy them for the Collins subs in due course, but it won't order any at the moment. It's not ordering a single one, presumably because that would affect the budget outlook within the forward estimates. So this is all becoming... Now, I was very critical of the Morrison government. We're getting the same.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you're back. You're fiery. Terrific to have you on the show as always. We'll see what happens now with the DSR.
Thanks,
and see if that gives given them a shake-up in Canberra. Thank you, Greg.